others, she was just a good friend. To me, she was mom. Now, her and Phil had 3 biological children, Sonia, David, and Shelley, but they had more than that. They fostered for 30 years and over 100 children. I was one of them. They were married for 44 years before she was taken, and no matter what, she always gave as much love as she could, as many hugs as she could, and she was a good hugger. Elizabeth Ware, she's not in the picture, but she was the youngest and the foster child that they had for the longest. She's actually considered one of their children. But she was a good mom. She took care of all of us as if we were her own, and she never had us want for anything. But more than that, she was a good woman. She took care of her husband and her kids, took care of the house. She was always cooking and cleaning. When Phil was out in the garden tending to the crops and the cattle, she'd be inside and she'd be mixing her homemade spaghetti sauce and making her famous lasagna and spaghetti. She used to make a 7-layer dip I'd go crazy about. She'd only have it for parties, but sure enough, half of it would be gone before the guests started arriving. But she also stayed at the house, and she'd quilt, and she'd scrapbook, and eventually she started her own business. She started it with her daughter Sonia and one of her good friends. It was called Stamping Up. They made Hallmark equivalent cards. Beautiful, heartfelt. Normally, they were popping out, a bunch of sparkles. I remember when I got them. But more than that, she was a good person in the community. She was always volunteering. She normally volunteered at the church. She was a devout Christian, like Phil. And she was always helping anybody in need. Family, friend, acquaintance. I remember when she got into Tupperware. There was parties every night. And she used to stick me in the most god-awful dresses. Flowery, poofy, could barely move. And then she'd always chop my bangs off. I hated them. Never told her that, but. And she'd always braid my hair. But she was always there. Whenever I needed a hug, I'd curl up on the recliner with her, and even though I was too old, I'd fall asleep on her lap and she'd put me to bed. And when I was sick, instead of putting me in my own little room with a little bucket, she'd always take me to bed with her. It's actually the only way I got into that bed. She was always there when I needed her, and now that I look back, I just wish I could tell her how much she did for me and how much I appreciate it. And I hope that one day I make her proud and be half the person she ever was. And you might not have known her well, might not have known her at all, but I just want you to remember that she will forever be one of the best, sweetest, loving women you'll ever meet.